Hello, I'm Fox,
I'm Bruce.
and welcome to Back to the Future Day videos. This is part three, and like with the Back to the Future trilogy, we come in three.
Yep.
So, for our final video for Back to the Future Day videos, we'll be looking at CinemaSins Everything Wrong with Back to the Future Part Two. And of course, the CinemaSins guys are best known for, telling you while watching every single clip of the entire video, they explain what the sin is, why it's a sin, and continue with it. They'll add their own little in-joke sins here and there, but a lot of it rings true. And I've been watching them since they first started a couple of years ago.
Same here. I mean,
Yeah,
you watch it, and even as you're watching it, you still, just like with honest trailers, here they spot a lot more problems or issues where you like, wait a minute, that is true. It still goes back to spot little things.
And their most difficult subjects are usually the time travel ones, because that has, of course, we mentioned in the previous video, time travel is always
so many plot holes. You don't know the rules of it, and if you don't at least get all the plot holes, the rules of time travel, if you don't get it right, you're going to get a lot of plot holes for a lot of things.
Of course.
And that's the one thing that with them, with CinemaSins, that's their biggest pet peeve a lot of times, because they spot almost every little thing that you start to realize, going, oh shit, damn. Because once it hits one domino, then you have that domino effect going right down the line.
Okay, so we're gonna check out the video.
And here we go.
How about a ride, mister?
Sure, but who the f*** are you? Also, is this movie recognizing that Marty's trip back to 1955 would have changed a hell of a lot more lives than just a handful? Because Jennifer Parker turned into Elizabeth Shue.
You're acting like you haven't seen me in a week.
How about ever?
Now, what happens to us in the future? What do we become, assholes or something?
Since this is a reshoot of the first movie's ending, filmmakers decide they need Doc to react to this famous quote. Indicate, damn it!
Hey, Doc, you better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Part 1's mistake becomes Part 2's mistake. I could get up to 88 in a Prius with that much road. Why is Jennifer so willing to immediately hop into the DeLorean without one question asked?
What the hell is going on here?
Only Biff in the entire neighborhood sees this.
October 21st, 2015.
Hey, that's the day of this video's launch. What a coincidence. Hang on. What? It's not a coincidence?
Wow.
Why wasn't I told about this?
2015? You mean we're in the future?
Did they film Michael J. Fox's first table read into this movie?
Just a sleep-inducing alpha rhythm generator. She was asking too many questions.
Maybe you shouldn't have ridiculously crashed into Marty's driveway and allowed her in the car in the first place. Hell, you didn't seem to think it was a big deal when you told Marty bring her along. Also, and this is not an original point by any means, but why do they have to go to the future to change things, when Doc could simply tell Marty in 1985 how things are and to avoid making bad decisions?
Thank
What did
you.
you bring her for?
I had to do something.
How about using the sleep-inducing thing back in 1985 and put her to bed? You really didn't think this through, did you, screenwriter? I mean, Doc? Wow, Marty somehow produced a child with Jennifer that contained none of her DNA. Cubs sweep series in 5? Did they think the World Series would be 9 games by the time 2015 rolled around?
Hey, what about Jennifer? We're not just gonna leave her here.
Actually, you are, and it turns out exactly as such a bad idea should turn out. Apparently, Jaws 19 will be directed by Max Spielberg, Steven's son. This must mean the family's in serious dire straits to take such a whoremongering gig.
All I want is a Pepsi.
Do you pay for anything in this diner? How did Pussy Biff from 1985 ever get around to procreating? The guy was in his late 40s, definitely with no kids, but for the purposes of the sequel, he manages to find one willing female to marry into his lucrative auto-detailing empire, and that kid also had a kid.
He's Griff.
Yeah, something that Doc didn't tell you for some reason when he hatched this half-ass plan.
You mean you have to use your hands?
Discount Baby Frodo.
Since when did you become the physical type?
Remember when Gremlins 2 came out? It was basically a parody of the first Gremlins. Why did they do that with Back to the Future?
What's wrong, McFly? Chicken?
Thus begins an incredibly ridiculous trigger word that the next two movies will use to advance the plot several times. Thankfully for Marty, Griff's henchmen were watching this fight in a single-file line for some reason. Hey, let's do everything we did in the first Back to the Future, only 2015 style, with 1989 knowledge.
I need to borrow your hoverboard.
A skateboarder gains momentum and propulsion because his foot hits the ground and pushes off, not because he waves it about behind him in the air. So why does it help these f***ing things go faster? Wow, this Ex Machina Jeep is the gift that keeps on giving.
Hey, McFly, you bojo! The cars don't work on water! Unless you've got power!
Well, it's still hovering, right?
Yeah, it's
still have
true.
power to hover, but not move. I know Griff is supposed to be not too bright, but this is the third time Marty has fooled him by simply ducking in the last 5 minutes.
Keep it. I got a pit bull now.
How? That thing clearly flew into the building. You were not a first responder on the scene and could not possibly have gotten all the way back here faster than Marty did anyway.
Cubs win World Series.
This is an intriguing thing that, as of this video's production, can still happen. If it does, feel free to remove 20 sins from this video, because that is one hell of a prediction. Now we know
With
Biff left Jennifer
encounter.
Allen, so this movie is a completely unnecessary way to have more conflict. Biff managed to be in the perfect random place to not only hear about the time machine, but get his hands on the sports almanac. Movie thinks if he's upside down, we won't notice a discount Crispin Glover. And you know what? Teenage me did not. But Sin Me did.
Oh, that is
why does the
Crispin
Scenery
Glover.
Channel appear to be showing its viewers paused
That
VHS
was
tapes
good.
of scenery, blatantly landing in a no-landing zone?
We can't risk you running into your older self.
But why take the dog? Is it just so the DeLorean will be completely empty when Biff steals it? Because I think it is. Yes, he tells him to go find Jennifer, but since when is that dog a bloodhound?
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and Weather Channel.
Why does he refer to all the other channels by their numbers, but asks specifically for the Weather Channel? Several things here. Marty ignores Doc's instructions, yet again, and does not stay with the car. Also, he doesn't lock the car or even shut the goddamn door. Does Biff
I know.
know that he needs to blast this thing to 88 miles per hour to time travel? How about
Exactly.
open the dashboard so that it knows where to go? In the future, metal will not conduct heat, so you can touch it with your bare hands.
Read my fax.
They still use faxes?
Marty, come.
Well, it's a good thing he ignored your orders to stay with the car, since you now need his help. Biff comes back after giving younger Biff the sports almanac, but nothing in this future has changed at all. It should be the nightmarish Biff future right now. Biff leaves ridiculous evidence
Sure.
proving he used the time machine so that Doc and Marty can figure out what the hell happened when they go to Bizarro 1985. As we see, Biff went back to November 12th, 1955. How do Marty and Doc miss this?
We're back.
After a jet flew by? Did they not have jets in 2015 or any other non-1985 era?
I remember bars being on these windows.
Really? How often do you go to your own girlfriend's house?
Exactly.
Bars on windows is something that should be black and white, not fuzzy and vague. They don't
True.
notice the subdivision graffiti either. Jesus, it takes these two way too long to realize the past has been changed. Wait, why did they leave 1985 in the morning but return to it at night? Why not just go back to the moment you left like every other time in these movies? Marty comes back to a house that is no longer his, but thankfully there's a window left open, so he can discover the truth a lot sooner and in more embarrassing fashion. This angry father swings and misses Marty 3 times in a row, mostly because each swing starts long after Marty has moved. Despite a massive worldwide change due to Biff's gambling success way back in 1958, Michael Jackson still somehow made Thriller and Off the Wall exactly as he did in the normal timeline. Marty is now recognizing all the wrong appearing shit he ignored on the drive flight into town. Marty just happens to find the random house where Principal Strickland lives, because nostalgia.
Last week, the school burnt down 6 years ago.
And they didn't build another one? These assholes hate their principal so much that they're still angry enough to try and kill him in a drive-by 6 years after they've been required by anyone to even attend school. That is a serious grudge. Good thing bullets don't go through wood, or else Marty would be dead.
Dedicated to Hill Valley's #1 citizen.
It's at this point that Marty should already be zooming on over to Doc Brown's place to stop him from tearing the time machine apart.
Learn the amazing history of the Tannen family, starting with his great-grandfather, Buford Mad Dog Tannen.
See, this is the kind of awesome foreshadowing and cohesion you can get when you film sequels simultaneously.
Third time's a charm.
You
Who
took
was
one.
lover into Biff marries him anyway because of something vague about financial troubles or some. Oh, and to give an emotional reason for Marty to change this future. No,
You're safe and sound now.
this whole movie is throwbacks to the last one.
Oak Park Cemetery.
Marty doesn't believe his mother, so he needs to physically see his father's tombstone for proof, which won't actually prove anything more about George being dead than his mother's word. If you really want proof, you gotta dig that shit up, dude.
When I learned about your father, I figured you'd come here.
So you found out Marty's dad died at the exact same time Marty found out? That's amazing timing.
I went to the public library to try to make sense out of all the madness.
And helpfully, George McFly's murder was front page news, so that you could easily reference and reunite with Marty in a timely fashion.
And gave the book to himself at some point in the past.
Yeah, but why was he allowed to return to the original timeline while these two got sucked into the alt version?
It says right here that Biff made his first million betting on a horse race in 1958.
The Sports Almanac has winners from minor horse races in 1958. It's like 90 pages. Also, it doesn't say anything about Biff winning money in the actual articles, just a bunch of vague gibberish that I'm sure some temp is hired to write for fake movie newspapers. Nixon to seek 5th term? Somebody's read Watchmen.
Crazy old codger with a cane shows up. He says he's my distant relative. I don't see any resemblance.
Biff has literally zero reason to tell Marty any of this.
What the hell is that?
That still works.
They couldn't match up the bullet that killed your old man.
You were firing at him earlier. Now you're monologuing. Good for you, Marty. Biff can still shoot you, right? Also, how did Doc know to be around the roof at this time? Not to mention, once again, risking everyone seeing that flying car again. Biff is not leaning far enough over this ledge for this car door to hit him.
Unbelievable that old Biff could have chosen that particular date.
Not really. Not if you want to bask in the glow of the first movie again.
This alternate 1985 will be changed back into the real 1985.
Isn't it great you can just time travel your problems away without
I know,
creating
right?
new problems from the time travel?
A walkie-talkie so we can keep in contact.
When the f did you buy those? And how the hell does Marty open that plastic packaging with practically negative effort?
You must be very careful not to run into your other self.
That's another thing. Biff went back to 1955 in a flying DeLorean, and apparently no one saw that. Do you think Biff would have been as careful to hide the car, walk his 78-year-old ass to town to find his younger self? Marty trails Biff at a distance and in a manner that should have resulted in Biff spotting and pummeling him blocks ago.
The manure. I remember that.
Why wouldn't you remember that? Biff literally tries to lift up Lorraine's skirt on the downtown square in broad daylight, and no one cares but Lorraine. Old Biff is still behind that tree remembering the manure incident fondly, instead of watching the scene unfold, which would reveal to him that Marty is in the back of the car. What the f is he doing behind that tree anyway? Marty here on the right is somehow not in Biff's peripheral vision.
It's 4th and 11 with only 18 seconds left in this game. I'd say it's all over for UCLA.
Announcer makes the most preposterous statement ever made in a sporting event during the very moment UCLA is actually coming out to kick a field goal that could win the game. Biff absolutely had to look in the back seat to see where this book landed, and yet he totally misses Marty. Wait, does this car have no rear view mirror? Well, that's convenient to the action that needs to take place, right? And now it does have a rear view mirror?
Doc. Doc, come here.
How the hell does Biff not hear this? He's not even really whispering.
Marty, you must be extremely careful not to run into your other self.
Says the man standing literally in the center of his other self's lightning experiment.
Excuse me, sir.
1955 Doc has seen 1985 Doc's face and voice, which he knows from watching that damn video over and over in the last movie. So not noticing his future self here is bullshit.
Be a pal, hand me a 5/8" wrench out of that toolbox.
Why? You are not busy holding something together that you can't get the wrench yourself. Universal reused this Crispin Glover footage without his permission, which rightfully led to a successful lawsuit and new regulations. There's no reason why Doc and Marty needed to risk anything tonight. It took 3 years for Biff to win his millions at the horse race, so why not wait till a much better time to get the almanac back? I mean, Jesus, have you ever seen a movie this fucking clever? This entire movie is possible because people don't notice goddamn shit. Marty is able to take my life pain damage to his hand without making any noise. Wouldn't Marty, aka Calvin Klein, be such a superstar here in 1955 that even in a leather jacket and hat, everyone would know he was the one that sucker punched a downed Biff and stole his wallet and book?
Guys, what's that?
This is literally the only move Marty McFly has in his arsenal, and it still
And
works.
still
Why
works.
did he come back here? Does he just need more nostalgia?
Where is he? Oh, Calvin Klein.
So doesn't this mean that Biff doesn't become a pussy after this? He does after one lucky punch from George, but he sees Marty punch him and he's suddenly back to being an asshole? You know what I'd do? I'd go over and tap those guys on the shoulder and then start running again. Besides, even if you get beat up, you have all the time in the world. This is not like the first movie when there was a deadline. These henchmen who are literally staring at Marty are unable to see Marty. Oh, look, there's a convenient number of goon-busting sandbags all tied together at this one spot.
That was very interesting music.
What is the deal with the weird new line readings? I mean, didn't they want to even get close to the originals?
Hey, chicken!
How and why does every adversary Marty encounters know exactly what button to push? Good thing this is one of those chases where only the principal characters are driving down the road at this very moment.
That'll teach him.
Biff seems to be glad about committing murder, and he doesn't the least bit care that he just did more than $300 damage to his car right there. After this, somehow Marty doesn't even have a black eye or bloody nose or anything. This is the second time in this movie that Doc has ex-machina'd Marty from an aggressive Biff via the flying DeLorean. Jesus, what are the odds? Hitting a manure truck mere days after you hit the last one, on this road, at this hour? Have to be akin to discovering proof of Pluto on Mars. Marty is somehow able to light a match in this windy storm, which is maybe the least believable thing in all three of these movies. Yeah, no more Pleasure Palace, but the exact same matchbook? Wouldn't it be cooler if the whole matchbook just disappeared? Same here. Why would he have been honored on that same day? Wouldn't it be cooler if it just told us someone else got murdered? Doc continues flying the time machine in a dangerous lightning storm long after dropping off Marty and for no particular good reason other than setting up the sequel.
Now let's go home!
Also, you could just wait until tomorrow. I'm just saying. There's no reason to risk anything right now. Why doesn't anyone know this? Here's one of the only sequels ever to actually include a trailer for the third movie as part of the end of this movie. Weird.
Oh, Cubs don't win. Cubs win.
Oh, it's Hill Valley, although I can't imagine hell being much worse.
Cubs win. Cubs win. Cubs win.
It's over. Wow. Okay.
There's still the after video, after shot.
Yeah, there's usually after video. They usually add near the end of it, so we'll see what it is here. Oh God! Yep, Doctor Who.
Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Hey, Carl, think about the future.
You suck, you
Jackass.
Don't with the babysitter.
So he says, how would you like to be rich?
And he said, how'd you like to make $25,000? And I said, who wouldn't?
Okay.
Okay,
I like that. That was
okay,
cool.
just to inform people, Cubs didn't win.
Yeah, Cubs didn't win. Sorry.
They're
Sorry, Cubs fan. We're not disrespecting, but they didn't win. I'm sorry. Maybe in the future,
So-
yeah.
So
We'll
hell
see.
didn't freeze over. It's still a balmy 200 degrees down there. So, okay, the video, it was a good video. It made a lot of good points. Like, what was it? I didn't know that wasn't Chris McGovern that one shot.
I didn't know, and then I didn't know about the whole how was it that scene where he's just sitting randomly. I didn't know that pretty much they just were just randomly filming, but then he had to sue them just to get the money out of it because it's like he didn't even
I didn't even
hear about that. That's interesting information. Even if you knew or didn't know, hey, it's new for us as well.
And they made a good point too. Okay, so we know that he punched him in part one. His father punched him in part one, and he became a pussy the rest of the time.
Yes.
So
What did the second punch do exactly?
And in part two, he punched him, was still in full rage Biff mode. Was the manure mentally changed his health, his mind, or something?
Something. I guess maybe too much sniffing of the manure affected his brain or something. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just, they brought up a lot of points where even you're like, that is true. Wait a minute. What the hell? Why didn't they do this? Especially when in the back of the car going, okay, first of all, can't you hear him? Where's the rear view mirror? Oh, wait a minute. There's the rear view mirror. The little small little things you need to comprehend where it's just like, I don't get it. It's like.
Then there's the whole Doc talking to himself but not realizing it's himself. So I guess
especially
that's fine.
Especially when you turn around for that quick second, you would think they're going, wait a minute, that type of thing.
And another point was, which bothered me when I last saw this movie was, wait, how did Biff know how to use the time machine? He saw it take off.
That's the one thing that even I still remember when we were watching the movie, was it like a week ago or something like that? Even we brought it up saying, how does he know how to drive the vehicle? What buttons to press? How to make it fly?
It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense unless he was actually there watching them. But it makes no sense how he knows, especially even if you knew how to make it fly. Does he even know pretty much the speed it had to go to or something? But it made no sense. That was like the one thing I hated. And of course, fucking Marty leaving the damn door open. You're like, what the hell, really? It's like, are you that stupid? I mean, everybody knows, don't leave the door wide open and then all of a sudden you go down a whole block leaving your door open. It makes no sense. I mean, they brought up a lot of good stuff, and it's just like, some of the stuff that nowadays you're just like, you look at you're pinpointing every little thing. And that's what I love about CinemaSins. They always spot a lot of the mistakes, little things.
I did like the Cubs win sin counter and the
the moment, especially when they brought up the whole they sweep it by 5. Normally, it's not that many games they have to play. Usually, they have up to 7 games to play. And try to see. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not big on baseball, but usually it's about 7 games they have to see who can get the most wins. But usually by 5.
Yeah, as far as I know, the Cubs didn't make it. So,
but either which way, it's like
free over.
I mean, the only thing they did get right was the Miami thing, because Miami did eventually get a baseball team.
Yeah, but if you notice, it's in the movie, it's the Miami Gators, the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, it's not the Miami Marlins, but still, the Miami still got a team.
Yeah,
that's the thing, And I did like how I did spot how they mentioned about his son Spielberg. 'Cause even I didn't know, so going, oh wait, that's true, Max Spielberg. It's like as if his son was doing it.
Yeah.
But I definitely liked it. You just see a lot of stuff or plot details where you want to go back and going, that's true.
That's very true.
That's true. That's why sometimes I love watching a lot of these time travel stuff. But a lot of times, I'm afraid because you're gonna have a lot of plot holes. Unless you get somebody smart enough who knows how time travel works, you're gonna have a lot of plot holes. But I enjoyed it. I mean, if you all liked it, enjoyed it, please comment. If you like our videos or so far, I mean, just like, share, comment.
If you
subscribe at the link we have in our video here. But
if you're new to the channel, do everything he just said.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, anything more that interests you, just like I said, leave a comment. Exciting news coming out was a Friday. I mean, we just found out ourselves, and we'll bring a reaction video to that. Is Jessica Jones for Marvel that finally released in the first trailer. Thank God. We'll be also looking over that pretty much on our next video.
Right.
But for now, I'm Bruce.
I'm Fox.
And good day.